Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. In this podcast, we like to tackle the CNC industry specifically and really talk a little bit about business in general. Hopefully, you'll find some entertainment throughout it and hopefully some education. But the next episode starts right now. Welcome to this week's episode of Talking Shop. I am your host, Brandon Bombardo. As always, I have my partner in crime, Nick Peters, here by my side.
How's it going, Brandon?
Not too bad, man.
Hopefully the 314 people listening today are doing great as well.
Hopefully the people are doing well today. Yeah. You know, as you all know, we're back to provide you some entertainment, challenge your thoughts, and hopefully motivate you to do great things today. So let me ask you, though, how do you find the confidence to act before it's too late?
Just do it.
Just do it. Now, that's what we're going to dive into today, though. Before diving into that, though, this week's first step is going to be the current events, obviously. We like to follow those up with some of the answers to your questions and comments, and then we're going to follow up with our own question for you so you all can debate it and argue on the internet, because why wouldn't we want to provoke that? And then we'll dive into the heart of this week's episode, as I mentioned, and then follow it up with the broken internet, and of course, our daily dose of motivation, and then some final thoughts. So,
is the internet still really broken?
It's always broken.
Gosh dang.
Grab your coffee, put your headphones in. It's time to talk shop.
I like it.
Like that?
You brought the energy today.
Bringing some energy. Let's go. But yeah, this week's current events, I know you have one that you wanted to kick off with.
I actually have two.
Oh, two. Woo!
One is kind of quick, and one is really important.
All right,
The
let's
second
go
one,
with
the second one will be really important.
Let's go with the first one.
Okay. It was a bummer to see Alex Ovechkin get hurt last night.
Dude, I know.
Scored 5 goals in the last 2 games.
And now he's hurt.
Now he's hurt. And
He's on a week-to-week basis.
That sucks, because he only needs 27 to break a record.
I know, he's on a week-to-week basis.
Man,
Bummer.
it's unfortunate.
Which is crazy when you think about it. He's kind of like an Iron Man. He just has always been there.
I think they said he's missed 35 games in his 20 years.
Right.
And one was like the first season when he got in a fight
Right.
and got hurt or something.
Yeah, but he's a kind of an Iron Man. He's just really, I mean, I think some of it has to do with respect in the game. Like, he doesn't, people don't cheap shot him.
No.
He's a veteran. He's a, all-star player. So you kind of like, they get a little bit more protection, I would say, right? The enforcers kind of stand up for him and take care of the dirty work.
And everybody knows that if they touch him, they're going
right.
to pay for it.
And that's exactly it. Like, you're going to have the team on you if you fight him. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a bummer. I agree with you on that one. That sucks.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So
on the same realm of sports, though, the Vikings are 8-2, though. That's cool.
they are 8-2.
Isn't that not good?
I mean, it's good.
It's like a dirty 8-2, but we're there.
Could be 2-8, could be 5-5, but they're 8-2. So good teams find a way to win.
Good teams find a way to win when your players that are supposed to find a way to win can't find a way.
Yes, whatever you just said.
Right?
Sounds
like
right.
quarterback struggling, teams keeps finding a win. Hopefully Sam will settle back down.
I feel like I motivated Sam this week because I benched him on my football team.
I saw that. I was appreciative of you doing that. So
Still
this
doesn't matter.
This 8th win goes out to you, Nick Peters.
My team still sucks, so it doesn't matter.
Remember when Budweiser used to do those? This Bud's for you.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
Real Men of Genius.
Yeah, Real Men.
Yeah,
of Genius. We'll start that right now. Real Men of kind of smart.
I don't know about that.
This goes out to you, Nick Peters, for benching Sam Darnold so we can win our 8th win.
And then sacrifice my fan. I don't know. Well, he wouldn't have mattered. So either way.
So we go. Real Men of kind of smart.
Maybe I'll start rewriting some of that and work on that too. That'd be pretty funny to just randomly throw that out there, right?
There it is.
So Natalie asked what we were gonna have for dinner last night.
Uh-oh.
I got home and I'm like, hey, I have an idea. I'm gonna cook crocodile for dinner.
Wait, what?
No, just kidding. I was gonna cook alligator for dinner. And she looked
Alligator?
at me, alligator for dinner. And she looked at me and I'm like, oh, just kidding. We can't. I only have a crock pot.
Get out of here.
See, got it in early.
Leave. Just leave.
I gotta go home.
Go. Get out. You're done.
See, you never know when it's coming.
Oh my God.
This is a random speaking about it.
Jeez. We literally lost all of our listeners on that joke.
If they were still awake.
Yeah, they already fell asleep.
How'd hockey go this weekend?
It was good. We struggled.
Looks like you played in a pretty cool arena, though.
Dude, that place is sweet. I don't even know the name of it. The Rec Center. The Recplex. Something, yeah.
Somebody say, yeah.
That place, though, is awesome. Like, never seen it in my life.
Is it just really big?
It's massive, dude.
Do you think it's weird for the kids to get on into a place like that, and all of a sudden there's like seats and it's twice?
I don't
as
think
big as-
they even cared.
They didn't care.
I think half of them don't even know they're playing a hockey game.
It was that good.
To be honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think half of them give two craps. Like,
Oh, that's fair.
I think the parents care more than the kids do in most cases.
They're having fun, though.
I think the parents look for reasons to yell at each other more than the kids.
Oh.
So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a disappointing hockey weekend, to be honest. As a goalie dad, I struggle with all of the emotions on these kind of weekends because there's so much pressure that you are just nervous the whole time. And you're like, come on, kid, make the save, you know? And then when he doesn't make a save, you feel terrible. You feel bad for him. Like, you know, the other parents are, you know, kind of like, well, what the hell? Make the save, kid.
All
know?
the parents of the future NHLers.
Right, exactly. And then you got coaches that, in my opinion, you know, just could do more for the kids in general. You know, I think that bugs me a lot because doing nothing all weekend long, you know, is how I looked at it. Like, I felt like we didn't do enough for the kids.
Sure.
I don't know. This whole thing bugs me. Like, I truly, I have a lot to say about it, and I'm not going to say about it right now.
It's
but
probably good.
I will say that it was their first hockey tournament of the weekend, and you could tell or of the year, and you could tell it was a rough weekend. We went 0-4. We were in every game though. I felt like the kids battled. One game we kind of got handled. I'll be honest.
We could have been 4-0, 2-2.
Three could have been 3-1. Honestly, I don't think we could have ever. I think you could play the second team 10 times and we lose 10 games, but I think we could beat the other teams in the right scenario. And I think by the last game, watching my son just mentally kind of check out, like, he had a rough game. The last game was not his highlight of the weekend.
Was he dancing in the crease?
No, last game, I'm not sure he even knew he was in a crease half the time. He was just kind of out of it. So
That's funny.
yeah,
Hey, you know, it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
they're 10-year-olds, whatever, 9-year-olds,
yeah.
whatever.
The cool thing is there was a scout, I guess you call, you know, like a youth scout guy there from a like traveling team.
For 9-year-olds?
Oh yeah, they like go all around looking for players for their traveling teams.
Interesting.
So that was kind of cool. Like, got to talk with that guy for a little while, so that was pretty sweet.
Did your goalie get invited to go anywhere?
You did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
So kind of cool.
I actually kind of sarcastically asked that guy.
I know you
said, "Oh,
yeah, he did. Yeah, that's kind of cool. He played really good all weekend long, other than one game. Like, he had
That's good.
just an off game, but every player has an off game. So
That's cool.
just when a goalie has an off game, it ends up as a scoreboard.
That's true.
So he went from, I think he had 5 goals on 9 shots. It wasn't good. It was a rough game.
About as good as I do, probably.
He was better than I am. I can tell you that much. But you know what I'm most excited about right now?
Lunch?
Well, okay. You know what I'm second most excited about right now?
Thanksgiving?
You know what I'm the third most excited about right now?
Christmas?
No.
Let's just move on.
PRI is rapidly
That's
approaching.
really coming up close.
But you really did get my top 2 first.
That was good.
I'm excited about Thanksgiving next week. Not gonna lie, it's my favorite holiday. And before that, I'm always excited for lunch. So,
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so third most exciting thing for me right now is PRI right around the corner.
Mine too. You know why?
Why?
Because you're going to be gone.
Oh, I figured that. I should have guessed. I should have guessed that one. Yeah, I honestly I love that show because it's a racing show, and obviously being a racing guy, I love being around that environment. But I'm excited. Like I said, I love showing off our equipment. You know, we're gonna have the plasma table there, obviously for showing off. We're gonna have the tube cutter there. It's gonna be the first time tube cutter is going to a show, so I'm super pumped about that. We have a really awesome booth. We got a video wall. How cool
Video
is that?
wall?
A wall.
Sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome.
Now, if we just had a video, I'd have to make a video. I'm just kidding. I only say that because he's going to hear this.
He's gonna hear it. And he's gonna edit your.
We're
face.
up to a great start. This is really
going
good.
good. I'm glad you've insulted half the staff so far.
Just wait. There's more.
It's your day. It's your day, buddy.
Hey, your eyes looking good.
It is.
It's looking a lot better.
Thanks. Yeah, my wife stopped hitting me in my sleep.
It's about time. Your kids went thrown under the bus last week, and I asked them. It's pretty funny. They looked at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Like, no, Dad doesn't get hit.
Back to PRI. Video wall. What else we got?
That's it.
That's it. Oh, okay.
We were already done with PRI. We don't have to go back to PRI.
I just know I still did rudely interrupted making fun of Alex.
No, that's all right. I'm okay with it.
Alex is great for the record.
He is. Alex is great. He's the one who makes us look pretty.
And he's a really good voiceover guy.
Yeah, did you hear his commercial?
Yeah, dude. I listened to it like 47 times.
That's why I got 49 views on it.
I see it on my feed all the time, though. So
That's awesome.
It's working.
Yeah, no, he did a good job on that. I was really impressed with that. So, Alex, great voiceover.
Good job, buddy.
Good job, buddy. High five.
I don't take back all the bad things I said about you.
I'm sure he doesn't. Moving on. Customer questions and comments. So yeah, first question of the day is, do you still have tool holders at the rear of the table? Yes, we do. There was a comment made on our ISA video, and we were talking about the bidirectional tool changer, the carousel.
Which is really, really cool.
It's super awesome. But to answer the question, yes, we still have the tool holders at the back of the table on the Pro Series and the IS Series machines. But yes, on the ISM and the ISA, these machines do have that bidirectional carousel system. And the main reason for the carousel system is to open up the back of the table, especially on like an ISA where you have a loader, and then on the front of the table where you have an unloader. So you got to make sure that you can slide sheets through it. And thus, that's where the bidirectional carousel comes in place. The reason we use bidirectional is because it speeds up the carousel by being able to go the shortest distance to the next tool, especially because we have one of the largest carousels in the industry. And then, obviously, on the ISA, we have eliminated the X-axis travel altogether. And therefore, that's one of the new features of the ISA's carousel tool changers. It actually is a carousel that rides along the head. So it's pretty awesome. Really, if speed is the name of your game, the ISA is the solution. So that hopefully answers your question there. So
yeah, everything about that thing is fast and cool.
So awesome, dude.
It's awesome.
I've been around CNC machines a long time, and it makes me take a step back every time. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's neat.
But then last week we asked a question about why do you listen to us, and I got to give a shout out. We got a response. We got several responses actually, but one I wanted to display this week was he said, I listen to the show. I listen to the show every week because it's not only educational, but it's incredibly motivating. Just knowing you put this effort into a show each week reminds me of why I chose the best CNC manufacturer to work with. You don't just sell products and disappear until there's a sale or support request. You stay connected and engaged. I really appreciate the show. It gives me motivation and it's positivity I need to keep driving forward and pushing through challenges. Thank you for all you do. No, thank you, Mark. You're motivating. Your comment motivated me. Honestly, it's one of those things where sometimes you sit here and you're like, man, is anybody even listening? And then, some weeks we get a bunch of feedback, but like that feedback was awesome. We appreciate you reaching out and just taking time out of your day to write to us because that's why we do it, honestly, is to stay connected. Like, it's not about selling machines. Like, I don't know how I can say that enough. Like, if I was about selling machines, I promise you I could put energy elsewhere, right? We can go run ads. We can go do things, trade shows. There's many other ways to sell machines. This show is not about selling machines. Yes, we talk about selling machines. We talk about the future, and we talk about ways to motivate people. But honestly, that's what it's about for me. Is like, I always look at it as, like I've said a million times in the episodes previous to this, is that you can get anything you want in life as long as you help enough people get what they want. Yep. And that's really what my thing is if there's a way I can give back to people and help them motivate themselves, because we all go through challenges and life sucks sometimes. And sometimes, especially as a business owner, you mentally fight yourself. And I think that's the biggest part of what the show is about, is to make sure that we can have somewhere to come talk shop, talk about the things that are bugging us. I would love to hear from more listeners and more people to tell me what they're struggling with and what they want to talk about. So that way we have topics to keep, hitting on that are related to what you want to, discuss. Otherwise, I just pick things that are real world, like what I run into, what I hear in the day to day. And, I try to talk about and help people keep moving in the right direction.
I just really appreciate the fact that Mark noticed how much effort I put into the show each week.
He actually said specifically, except for Nick, but I left that out.
No, but it's really cool to read that stuff and know that like it actually has an effect on people when they listen to it.
Right.
And, like, they can take something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with that statement 100%. So, yeah. Comment 3 was fiber laser versus CNC plasma. Why do people still offer CNC plasmas? Was asked. And honestly, the answer is kind of long-winded, so I apologize again in advance. But fiber laser is a great technology. I'm not going to take anything away from it. I believe in it. I think it's a great technology. There's a lot in the future for it. And the technology, when used in the right application, is tough to compete against, right? However, there's many limitations to fiber laser that I think people don't sometimes consider. And one of those limitations many times is the budget. Fiber laser is not cheap, typically. Historically, fiber lasers have a higher budget when cutting thicker materials, right? So thicker cutting capacities are going to be $150,000 and up, right? You're going to spend a small fortune to get into one.
Right. Yeah.
Not to mention a lot of them, you have to have really high, voltage power. You have to have 480 volt to get into them. So there's limitations because you can't put one of those in your home garage a lot of times, right? And where plasma, you can be under 50K easily. And the limitations of a CNC plasma, though, are where fiber laser has a place, because CNC plasma has a tolerance it works within because of the kerf technology. And ultimately, fiber laser has a little bit, I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot smaller kerf. There's less cleanup, tighter tolerances. So specifically when you get into like thin gauge materials, like I remind people of things like, think about a computer case, right? Where all those like little slots are cut out for like the vents for the fan and, you know, where your small little screw holes are, right? You're not doing that with a plasma. It's not possible. Right. So that's where fiber laser can come into play, is like being able to do stuff like that. When it comes to materials, though, that get thicker, you know, let's say over a half inch, that's when you start to see that shift begin, because it gets less cost effective and the tolerances become less critical for a lot of people when you get over that, you know, half inch. A lot of times there's a higher tolerance in thicker materials. You're not getting into that high tolerance, you know, type work. And there is, don't get me wrong, there's still people out there that do a lot of high tolerance cutting at thicker materials. But my point being is that there's a lot less demand of it at that point. And that's where plasma sometimes can make a difference for people, because it starts to hold many advantages for people. And, you know, both technologies exist in this world for a reason. So, you know, fiber laser is great. I think there's a runway in front of it. However, I don't believe CNC plasma will ever go away. I think it's always going to exist, in contrast, because of the budgeting and the versatility of it. Like, you can do a lot more for a lot less with the CNC plasma.
Absolutely. Yep.
And now with the technology, you know, with high def plasma, the cut quality is rivaling laser in a lot of cases. So on the thicker stuff, you're not having to go spend $500,000 on a laser when you can do it with a $100,000 plasma machine that can then cut a much thicker tolerance.
Is there a difference in plasma and laser when it comes to speed, like there is with routers?
Yeah, I would say on thinner stuff, typically lasers are going to be quicker. They move quicker.
Sure.
They have a much quicker capability. But when you start getting into the thicker stuff, it flips. They're slower. The laser tends to slow down, where the plasma can go a little bit quicker. So
sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, there's definitely limitations to both, but you need to have more power with laser to cut thinner, you know, to cut thicker materials. So, you know, head to head, you can get by with less power and less internal building power on a CNC plasma than you can with a laser.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So hopefully we answered that question for the viewer that asked that. And obviously submit your questions and comments for next week. We'll cover more. But now we're going to switch over to our question for you this week. So as you guys all know, I try to give you something to talk about, but let's jump into that. This week's audience question is, what is holding you back today from making an investment in yourself or your company? I'd love to hear it. So send me a message, send Nick a message, send us an email, send us a pigeon message. I don't care how you get it to me. Send me something that just answers that question. What is holding you back today from making investments in yourself or your company? I would love to hear from you, because sometimes it's just nice to understand what others are thinking about right now.
Yeah.
What's holding you back?
I mean, in my company, I guess it's just the fact, like I've said before, like it's not something I do full time. So to me, it doesn't make sense to.
So you're holding yourself back on it, you'd say?
Yeah, probably. Just because I'm okay with what I have now and it does good enough for the work I'm doing, and I don't see myself expanding into anything more that is going to make me need more cameras or a better camera or whatever.
You know what I call that? A lifestyle business. You're comfortable with the lifestyle and you aren't looking for more.
Definitely agree with that.
So
that's
awesome.
Do you want me to look for more?
No.
Because I don't want to have to leave here.
No, I don't want you to. No, but that's what I always consider that, as like a lifestyle business, because like you're comfortable with the lifestyle. You're not needing to grow the business out of a purpose, right? Like It's not like you have something that you're trying to work. You're like, hey, I'm content with where we're at. I don't want more work on it.
Yep.
I don't want to turn it into something more than it is. So yeah, lifestyle business. I like that. Yeah, for me, I think what's holding me back from making an investment in myself is just time. To be honest with you, I put everything I have into this place. You know, I think we all see that. I'm here all the time, and when I'm not here, I'm at hockey with my kids. So I think that's the biggest thing holding me back, is that it's time. I don't have the time. Let me take that back. I don't want to make the time. It's not that I don't have the time. I don't want to make the time to do something else right now. I enjoy putting my time into the business, into my kids' hockey. So for me, that's what's holding me back is just timing. I don't think it's the right time for me.
What if we like reinvented and remade time? Like,
I'm sorry, what?
like come up with like a new
What's in
calendar.
the bottle? What's in the bottle?
A new amount of time in every day. Like maybe make a day 48 hours and just like double everything. So you have like 2 sunrises, 2 sunsets in a day. And then like a week is actually 2 weeks. So you just, I don't know, get more time. You'd still like live the same amount of time, but it would feel like you're doing more in a day than you're not. I haven't been drinking today, I promise. I'm just trying to throw out another really crazy idea like the roll cage for your race car.
I feel like you didn't do anything except for move the sunlight. The time doesn't change.
I know, but wouldn't maybe you would feel like you had more time in a day if it was 48 hours instead of 24?
No, I feel like I was tired.
Whoever came up with the number 24 anyways?
Jack Gordon. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
It's one more than 23. I don't know.
You could do like the same amount of things would be scheduled, but you'd have twice as long to do it and twice as much free time to do other things.
Would you though? Everything stays the same.
It doesn't though.
It does.
Because it would now take us.
Now I get 8 meals a day.
It would now take us 34 days. There's 68 days to get to Christmas instead of 34.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's just go to the main topic.
Yeah, let's move on.
It's gotten too down a rabbit hole.
You have definitely lost me here. I'm sorry. So
let's move on. I'll come up with that by next week too.
Okay, yeah, you figured that out next week. Cool.
I'm going to be a real man of genius.
Real man of kind of smart. This week's episode, though, is about confidence to move forward, staying ahead of the competition. And maybe Nick is staying ahead of the competition here. Maybe he's come up with an idea. I don't know.
See?
But
5 years from now, when somebody comes up with that idea and it works, you're going to think back. And be
okay.
He was on to something.
That was on our podcast. Yeah. Today, we're going to tackle a big one, though. How to have the confidence to move forward before your competition does. And really, in the business world, nobody waits for anyone, right? Business doesn't wait for anyone in particular. You know, it doesn't hesitate. It doesn't, hold up for anything. Like, if you're ready or not, it's going to do what it's going to do, right? And hesitation can mean falling behind. I mean, that's the one thing I've learned in business is whether it's investing in new technology itself, launching a new product, shifting your strategy, hiring a new employee, whatever it is, making bold moves ahead of the curve often determines who leads and who follows.
100%.
Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So with that, let's start with the problem, right? And that is hesitation. I think that's the evil here, right?
Yep.
Waiting too long to make a decision can be costly, I think, in a lot of cases, right? And it can be costly in more ways than just one. We're not costly in I think when you say the word costly, people automatically assume financial, right?
Yep.
It's expensive. But I think hesitation has its own way of causing, you financial and both, other hurdles beyond finances. And that is the most important one to me that I think about is lost opportunities.
Yep.
For me, lost opportunities is when you wait for the perfect timing, right? You have to wait. Oh man, we're not ready yet. We're not quite there. We got to wait till this happens. Well, your competition could already be moving. So waiting for something to be perfect on timing while your competition doesn't care about being perfect on the timing sometimes can cost you the ability to be successful with whatever you're going to do, right?
For sure.
The new technology you're considering as an example, they're already, mastering it, right? They're already using it because you're waiting for it to be the perfect time.
And now you're behind.
Right.
Your competition's been using it for 6 months.
Right. Well, it puts more pressure on you because now you're rushing because you're trying to catch back up. And then, you talk about the untapped market. How many people, they know there's a market in front of them that they should go into, but they keep thinking about it.
Right.
Well, while you're thinking about it, somebody's moving into it, right? And they're already selling into it, likely. I hear this a lot from cabinet makers where they're like, oh, nobody in our area does it that way. Nobody in our area builds their own doors. So you should be the person in your area doing it because eventually somebody's going to do it. And now that person's going to be the guy in the area that does it, right?
You're going to be the guy that everybody's trying to catch up to.
Right. So, every moment spent hesitating is a moment your competition is gaining ground. That's, I think, fact. Being a follower is definitely the safe way of going, right? Everybody enjoys following somebody because it feels safe.
Yep.
But safety often results in less recognition, less success because the safe road is rarely the one that's going to push the boundaries and create waves, right?
Yep.
And sometimes you got to be a pioneer.
Yeah, be the guy that's doing it instead of being the guy that everybody knows can do it.
Right. And then the second thing that comes to mind for me is your decreased market relevancy, right? The market rewards those who adapt quickly is what I've found. Trending is really big, right? What's trending now? Trends shift and customers' needs evolve. It's just part of the world we live in. When a customer, becomes set on something, right?
Yep.
This is the way that everybody's doing it now, and I want that too. It becomes the, kind of Me Too attitude, right? Me too, I want that too. Oh, I want that too. And then suddenly everybody wants it, and that trend shifts. And if you're not ready for it, like, you can't capture that, right?
Right, and I think companies are the same way. They're like always trying to improve the thing that they just released, right?
Right.
I think cell phones are a perfect example. The new ones come out all the time, or even like computers. It's
How many people buy cell phones just because it's a new one? They don't even know if the features are better.
probably 97%.
I bet
It's probably a very high percent.
it's a high percentage of people that just do it because it's a new phone.
Right.
And that's the point, is like, it's a trend, right?
Yep.
People do it not because it's practical, but because they want to, right? And if you're not keeping up, or better yet, if you're not paving a new path, right, your brand is at risk in some ways, right?
Yep.
You're at the risk of being outdated. You're at the risk of being irrelevant, right? Being the company that does it the old way, right? How many times have you said that about something in your life where you're like, that's the old school way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an old way of doing it. Think about that. Like, if somebody today was still sending handwritten letters to every single customer instead of sending an email to them, there might be some value in it to some people, right? But there would be a lot of people that say that's the old school way of doing it.
And heck, you don't even know if it would even get there.
Well, that's my biggest thing about it is, it's like, handwritten letters are a great way to like stand out once. But if I send you an email and I ask you a question and you're going to handwrite back to me every time, eventually as the customer, you're going to get irritated, are you not?
100%.
Because it takes longer. Everything's old school. So it's the same mindset when it comes to business. Eventually, it wears off its uniqueness.
Right.
And it suddenly becomes unique New York. Unique New York. Sorry. That just came up through my head right now. I was thinking of Anchorman.
Not as much sense as what I said earlier.
But no, the uniqueness of what your product is what, gets people excited.
Yeah.
But then once it becomes the same as everybody and nothing's changing, like, then being a pioneer is what's going to push things forward, right? And you become more relevant in the industry when you are the company always paving that path forward.
Yep.
And in today's fast-paced environment, that's a dangerous place to be if you're not, pushing forward, if you're becoming complacent. And 10 years ago, you could get away with, being late to the game. You could make up ground, right? But today's information superhighway, which really is the internet, right? It allows competitors to leave you lost truly in the dust. Like, you're lost in the past. People aren't going to remember who you are if you keep doing it the old school way, because eventually the trends in the internet take over by wildfire, and suddenly the company everybody's talking about is the one that they're going to be looking at, right?
Right, and it's the one that everybody realizes or notices is the one that's always ahead of the next guy. So it's going to be the one that you follow or use for your purchases.
And I think that's a big part of it, is exactly like being the company that's recognized is a big part of your growth.
For sure.
It's who comes to mind first, right?
If you have the same thing as somebody else and somebody says your name or the new company's name, who are you going to go with?
Yeah.
More than likely
Ghostbusters,
the
obviously.
company that you...
What? Ghostbusters. That's who you're going to call.
Yeah. I said, who are you going to go with, though?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Close enough. But you know what I mean? Like,
apples and oranges.
the company that like...
For sure.
Say
you go with a reputable
You
name.
have your iPhone, and then there's some new company that comes out with something that's exactly the same. You're still going to go with the iPhone, right? Because you know that the quality is there. You know what it is.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Exactly. You recognize the brand.
Yes.
But that's the thing, is becoming that, the other thing that if you don't pioneer the way and you become this like complacent company, it's the erosion of confidence. That's a big part of it too, is that, here's really the kicker, right? The more you hesitate, the more you start second guessing yourself. That's just something that I've recognized, is that hesitation tends to lead to confidence reduction. And when confidence begins to erode, when doubt sets in, right, it becomes even harder to move forward, because now you've started to beat yourself up before anybody else could.
Yep.
And creating a cycle of inaction, right? What's worse? What's worse is beating yourself or having your competitors beat you? Like, I don't even know.
Right, yeah.
Is once doubt sets in, though, the culture can ultimately take a big hit too. Because once your employees see that you doubt it, or that you're not willing to, evolve, or you're not willing to make these, and they start to doubt it, then now it's going to really kind of spread within your organization. And once doubt sets in an organization, good employees leave.
For sure.
Because they don't know that it's sustainable. They don't know that they see the future forward, because they see where the market's going a lot of times. And if you're not going there, they start to wonder about their own jobs.
And they're doing the same thing that you didn't do. Like, they're going to go find a new job before it's too late and they have nothing, right? Like,
your good employees are going to go do that, right?
Yep.
The employees that probably are, mediocre employees might hang out and just say, well, it's a job.
Yeah.
Right? They don't care.
Sure.
But like, if they're forward thinking themselves, they're going to start looking at the writing on the wall and say, hey, we haven't come out with a new product in 26 years. Like, eventually there's writing on the wall. It'd be like being a typewriter manufacturer, right? When the computers were coming out. If you weren't moving in a direction, you're going to start doubting your ability to sell typewriters.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing that can be done in your business. If you're a cabinet maker, a sign maker, whatever industry you're in, automation, is something that you got to start, thinking about. And that, like I said, if you begin to doubt your own path forward, you're going to find yourself reeling at the end of this thing, And so, to me, why confidence is a competitive advantage, to be honest, is when you flip the script on that, right? Doubt is the number one thing that can kill a business. Confidence, though, can help grow it, right?
Yes.
It's a competitive advantage to be confident in your ability. Why confidence is key to staying ahead? Well, to me, it's not just about feeling good, right? It's about enabling the action, right?
Yep.
Pushing you forward. It gives you the clarity to make a decision, the courage to take the risk because you're confident in your abilities, right? I'm confident that if I do this, I'm going to give the best I have, and I've been successful in my life when I trust myself.
Yep. And I think, too, that leads to having confidence that if it doesn't necessarily work out 100%, you know that you can figure it out to get it to where it needs to be, right?
Absolutely. And that's exactly it. Staying the course, even during challenges, right? Things are going to happen. But, the one thing about confidence is the speed to the market, right? Is being a first mover has an advantage, right?
Yep.
Because whether it's launching a new service, being somebody in the area that, maybe you're the first car wash in the area, right? Or, adopting this cutting edge technology, let's say it's a ShopSabre, right? You're the first one with a CNC machine. Moving quickly positions you as a leader in your industry, right? Or in your area, and then gives confidence to not only you, but the customers as well, because the movement to take the step first shows that you are a forward thinker there.
Absolutely.
Without waiting for all the stars to align and everybody else to do it and then being like, a follower.
And you have all those people that have used you or your product that can tell everybody about the fact that you're somebody that can do things that others can't or haven't been doing.
Right. You say yes to more projects.
Yep.
And then it inspires trust. I think that's the other thing that goes alongside with that is when you move decisively, it inspires confidence in others, whether that's your team, as we just talked about, your team members, or your customers. Your customers believe in you. But even your industry peers is something that I think, we just talked about it. If you're not doing it, your competitors are.
Yep.
Well, if you're the one doing it, now your competitors are following you. So you're starting to, have to force your competitor's hand a little bit. And being the first to do something forces their hand to do it quicker and maybe out of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Out of character. Because they may normally research and, oh man, we're going to take our time and do this right. But then you do it first and it forces their hand to do it faster.
Yep.
So they might make mistakes. They might do things they otherwise wouldn't because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so for them to compete against you, they have to do things that they otherwise wouldn't. And then it's going to help lead your success. Being a leader in the industry is a big part. Again, as we talked about, being Apple of the industry, right, is going to make a difference.
Yes.
So, people tend to gravitate towards the leaders of the various industries or companies that act with a purpose and conviction, right? Companies that actually know why and what they're doing.
Right.
And I think adaptability in action, right? I think that's something to think about is confidence isn't always about being right. You said it earlier. Sometimes you're going to run into something, but you just have to trust your abilities and adapt and correct the course when necessary. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn the hard way sometimes. But even if the initial decision doesn't go perfectly, the willingness to act gives you a head start on everybody else. I remind everybody that a failure only happens when you give up, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes it's, yes, you took a step forward, and that step, maybe you stumbled, but guess what? It was still a step forward, right?
Yep.
If I hand the football off to a running back and he just stands there versus handing it off to a running back and that guy falls, which one's probably going to end up with more yardage?
Definitely the one standing.
No, probably not. Probably the one falling forward.
Oh, falling forward. I thought you meant,
Yeah.
I'd heard you say falling.
I love how you always felt,
Straight down.
you went negative and just like, he fell backwards.
Well, I just said fell. It was the guy standing, so the attempt to go forward.
Yeah, no, not moving is always worse than
falling
taking
forward.
a step.
Fair.
Good Lord.
I have to listen to all the words before having an answer.
Yeah, words, they make sentences.
Sometimes.
But yeah, remember, you're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. And like Nick just makes a mistake here. It is what it is. But mistakes are simply opportunities. Like they really are. They're an opportunity for improvement. But if you never make a mistake ever, if you're just perfect, right?
Yep.
Do you really ever improve?
No.
Because more than likely to be perfect, you've learned from other people's mistakes.
Right. And
Therefore, you follow it.
As we talked about before, are you ever really perfect at anything? There's always
opportunity.
That's why I come in every day and just like kind
Mediocre
of start low.
Yeah.
So by the time 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm looking really good.
Yeah.
And the day's been
I
really
like
great.
it. You like mediocrely start your day.
Yeah.
By the afternoon, you're like doing like what normal people would do at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like
But
that.
you look like you've improved.
I feel like some way you turn this around, to be not such a good idea. Didn't work out so well.
Oh man, this is good. I like it.
Strike 2 on the
Let's
day.
build your confidence.
Good luck with that.
I think honestly though, how to build confidence to move first is a big thing to think about. I think when you develop the confidence to take the action when it counts, I think it's gonna further build on your own confidence to do it in the future then, right?
Yep. Makes sense.
So I threw together a few strategies to consider, I put a few
I'm
of them
going to
together.
pay real close attention here.
Yeah, no, you're not. You got to educate yourself on the opportunities that are available. I think that's the one thing is confidence grows from knowledge, and they always say knowledge is power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're debating a decision, I think, as an example, like a new tool or expanding your services, do some research, right? Don't just jump at the first thing, right? Do some research, try to understand what you're looking at. Sometimes the first thing you see is the best thing.
Yep.
Because a lot of times that's why you saw it, is because it's popular. But just to assume that is a good way to set yourself up for failure, right? I think you need to always consider what your ROI is, or return on investment, right? What are the risks you're taking? I don't think anybody should ever do anything in life without at least assessing the risks, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then, like at ShopSabre, as an example, we work hard to provide resources and information. Our website's full of it, chock full of it, so that our customers can feel confident in their investment, right? We're giving you stuff to do your own research, but we also employ a lot of really good CNC consultants. So you can talk to professionals, right? And being able to act quickly is something we understand as a business owner you need to be able to do. You don't have a bunch of time. So, most businesses don't have weeks to make a decision, right?
Yep.
It's something they need to do quickly. They have a project coming up. They have something going on. There's a reason why they're actively searching for what they're searching for right now. Mm-hmm. And so if you have to pivot rapidly, use resources around you, right? So being able to use resources like our website to educate yourself or answer questions, and then being able to talk to somebody and just ask the questions that you're wondering. Don't assume anything. And, especially with things like right now where you're at the year end and it's right around the corner, you're 6 weeks away. 6 weeks? Really?
6 weeks.
Are we 6 weeks away? Jeez, that hit me. 6 weeks away from the end of the year. And when you think about that, Section 179, there's going to be people that are going to get hit with their tax person in the next 2 to 3 weeks and going to get surprised that they have this giant bill coming if they don't spend some money.
Right.
And it's like, once all that stuff starts to hit, right? Year end, all the incentives are going to start expiring, new pricing for next year. Obviously, prices tend to go up, unfortunately. But then you start thinking about the incentives disappearing. You start thinking about the, tax credits leaving. You got Christmas coming up. You got all this stuff that distracts you, and you have a short amount of time to do something.
Yep.
Use resources to make that happen easier, right? Otherwise, you're just going to stress yourself out.
You know what your first resource should be?
Me.
Sales@ShopSabre.com or ShopSabre.com and click on the Get a Quote button.
I like that one. It's good.
It's a good suggestion.
See, look, you are right. You do start to peak later on in the
Paying
day.
attention.
Look at that. The other thing is trust the data. That's something I always tell people is I think I've met a lot of people in my life that overanalyze. You got to trust the data. You can't have paralysis, right?
No.
Analytical paralysis, as I call it, is a confidence killer. While it's important to make informed decisions and do your research, over-researching and doing too much can just be, that can literally derail any motivation anybody has.
It just causes so many undue questions.
Right. Sometimes you question things that, okay, you don't got to question, is the light bulb going to come on when I flip the switch, right? It's some things you just don't have to do. And, don't get stuck trying to predict every possible outcome, because the reality is you'll worry yourself to death. But sometimes the data is as good as it looks on paper. It is. Sometimes you don't have to overthink it and create unnecessary hurdles. One thing I call it is an ROI rut, right? Specifically, cabinet makers are one that I unfortunately, sorry, cabinet makers, if you're listening, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here.
He's not talking about you, Sean.
Cabinet makers are some of the biggest over-analyzers I've ever met. I don't know why it is, but cutting a base cabinet with a CNC is like a 5-minute or less project. That's factually proven. We've done it on video. We show it off. In many cases, it takes a person to do the same work as that machine does in 5 to 6 minutes. It takes them an hour, right? It takes them significant amount of time to do that same thing. And yet they'll still contemplate whether they can justify the purchase. And it blows me away.
Crazy.
The ROI is there. You almost can't justify to not make the purchase. It's so glaringly obvious that if you're a cabinet maker, you should have a CNC machine at this point. But, the way I've always broken it down is you can either hire another $60,000 person a year to grow your business, right? Or you buy a $60,000 machine one time.
Right.
Because that yearly person every year is a cost, and then all the other crap that goes along with hiring people. It's easier on the ROI than you think it is, right? The ROI doesn't have to be this complicated thing. It's justifying what you're about to spend.
And not to mention, your machine's always going to be at work.
There's so many.
It's going to be on time. It's not going to not be there. It's going to.
I could spend a whole episode going through that,
Yep.
Talking about why a machine makes sense. But my point being is don't overanalyze it. You already have the work. You're doing work right now. Unless you're closing your doors,
right?
The work you're doing today will pay for the machine.
Yep.
And if the numbers are trending towards growth, capitalize on it. Trust them. Don't try to prove the numbers wrong. And I think that's what I think is funny is over-analyzing things is when people get data and then they try to find a way to make the numbers wrong.
We've talked about that before in past
Right.
episodes too. You look for a reason to not do something instead of looking for the reasons. That
There's
make
always going to be some sort of a risk associated with reward, right?
Just don't be afraid of the risk.
Right. Don't try to make the risk so large.
Especially when it's that obvious that it's going to be
Oh my God.
positive outcome.
So obvious. But yeah, and the other thing is don't be afraid to start small and scale, right? I think there's a lot of people that, if taking a big leap feels overwhelming, they just don't do it at all, right?
Yep.
And it's okay, well, let's start with a manageable step, right? Test a new product, experiment with a smaller investment, right? Or a pilot program, or something like that. Try it with a smaller group of your customers if you're going to try something, right? But small success builds momentum. And with momentum comes confidence. So it goes right back to everything. So many people have to wait till the water's warmed up, right? And what I've always said is if you start dipping your toes into the water and, it's cold, people just don't want to jump in the water.
Just jump right in and get it over with.
And that's exactly what I've said. It's a lot of times if you jump into the pool, you'll just start swimming.
For sure.
Because you're already in. At this point now, I'm going to start swimming. And then you realize the water's not as bad as you thought it was. So, mentally we beat ourselves up more than we need to. An example of this is, being a shop without any CNC technology. You don't have to go spend $150,000 on a loader-unloader machine just because somebody else did it or you saw it in another shop that they have these big old, you're a 1-2 man shop. Find a solution that fits your shop.
Yep.
You don't have to make it a bigger than it is investment. Just because somebody somewhere told you have to go spend $150,000. Maybe their shop had to spend $150,000. That doesn't mean yours does. Right. So don't be afraid to find a way to jump into it, even if it means something small, like a RC from ShopSabre, right? We have our $35,000 cabinet package. It's a great way to get yourself in the market so you can start cutting your own cabinets and not having to depend on somebody else.
Right.
Because I can guarantee you're probably spending more than $35,000 a year paying somebody to do it.
100%.
So, let the demand and the revenue that you build off of it afford your new machine.
Right. So then in 6 months, once that RC is paid for and you have too much work to do on that little machine, you can level up.
Yeah. And I mean, and even when you think about it, like competitors they're going to take your revenue. If you're not willing to do it, they're going to continue to take your revenue and your customers to build their business.
Might as well take it yourself.
Right. Like you can continue to pretend that you don't need this technology, but you're going to lose customers from it.
100%. Absolutely.
And you have to learn from other people's success. I tell everybody, look at the industry leaders, look at your competitors. They all make bold moves, right? What worked for them? Find out what worked. Was it automation, right? Was it a new software? What lessons can you apply? Remember, every innovator started by taking a risk. There's always a risk in everything. Their success isn't lucky, though. It's confidence in action. And the one thing I always remind people is rarely do you see an industry leader doing the work by hand. Automation is the future. And then surround yourself with experts, and I can't say that enough. Confidence often comes from collaboration. I believe in talking with people, whether it's your team, your mentors, your equipment partner. I mean, even for us, I talk to people that build equipment for us. Surround yourself with people who understand the risks and the opportunities. As an example, if you're not sure about CNC and you're really back and forth, call ShopSabre. We pride ourselves on being a trusted partner. We help you make decisions that move your business forward. And no two businesses are the same. So as an example, Chinese imported product, they don't really care about your business. It doesn't provide knowledge or experience. They're selling you a product at a low price, where ShopSabre is providing you with resources. It's the training, it's the support, it's all the things that come along with your investment. And when some of it's preparing your shop, right? We can give you the information you're going to need to get ready, where a lot of companies aren't going to provide you that stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely not adding any confidence or value to your business by going a different route. Yeah,
and I think, real world experiences just simply come down to, shop owners who invest early in CNC. When you think about it, you early invest in a product and it builds your business. A lot of times companies that build around automation end up being more successful in a shorter amount of time because they're not having to do things the hard way.
Right. And they're not playing catch up.
And they gain reputation. People start to believe in them. And then, the other thing is being a company that can enter in a niche market. As an example, we have a customer of ours that got into the EVA boat stuff, and he did custom interiors and designs, and, historically those type of things had long lead times and took forever, and they didn't have them locally. So he didn't want people to wait anymore. So he bought a machine, started it, and jumped right in. And now, to be honest, he's like one of the most established leaders in that industry because he was willing to be able to do all the custom stuff himself. And he came with a risk. He had to invest in some equipment, but he's taken over that industry now. He does a lot of that stuff, and it's on a ShopSabre machine, and I'm pretty proud to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Have the confidence to jump in, right?
Right. I mean, here's the bottom line. The confidence to move forward isn't being reckless, right? It's about being prepared, informed, willing to take calculated risks. Your competition isn't waiting, and neither should you. And at the end of the day, if you don't think about your competitors and you don't think that they're making moves, well, you're only lying to yourself, because they are. They're just doing it in silence, and they're going to surprise you one day. Because if you believe for 1 minute your competitor isn't doing something, then you're going to probably get surprised by somebody. Because
you'll find out at some point.
Yeah, because everybody's working on something. They're either working on growing or going on a business, one of the two, right? And success favors people who are bold, and boldness doesn't mean acting blindly. I always remind people of that. It means trusting your vision, leaning on your team, making decisions with clarity and purpose. And when you take the first step, you're not just keeping up at that point, you're leading the charge, right? You're leading change.
Yep, I like it.
So that's what I know today on that. That's this episode's main topic. I know we've kind of run long today, but I'm not going to cut the episode short. I'm enjoying it, so I want to jump into the next segment, which for us is the internet is broken. What I wanted to touch on today is how people tear down a company or a product with no attempt to contact them first. Like, I'm a part of the Ford pickup truck group, and the people that just rip them apart online, I just kind of laugh. I see it so often that people who depend on a product or own a product, they suddenly become online bullies with really no other purpose than being a jerk. Like, you see the way people people who own a product for 2 years, 3 years, and they have one problem with it after that time, and then they just start tearing people apart. Right. And it's like, what's the purpose of what you're saying? Like, just contact them.
And I bet they'd be more than willing to at least try to help.
I think
out.
most companies are willing to talk,
Yes.
but just stay off the internet. Like, put your keyboard away, because I think like that has given people this, like, I don't get it. This uncomfortable like sense of like, I can just say what I want when I want and be a jerk and hide behind the keyboard.
Because nobody knows who they are, where they are.
And I just don't get that. Like,
It's dumb.
the world is better when we work together and resolve issues.
Absolutely.
Like, I promise the company that you're buying from probably wants to hear your feedback. That's how they get better.
Yep.
So even if it's somebody as big as Ford, like, their service department wants to be there to listen. They don't make more money by you not servicing your vehicle.
Right.
So, I wish the world would just begin to stand up to people like this. I wish like the internet wouldn't put up with this. Like, I wish people on the internet as a whole would start to rally against bullies and be like, hey, you're just wasting your time. Go call the company.
I think people like that should get the support and the pile on to bring down the jerks, rather, as opposed to being, you know what I mean? Like,
Great.
One person says something silly, and then you seem like you have 100 people follow them saying the same silliness.
Can we go back to like AOL minutes?
Yeah, and they get cut off after.
And then
a while.
like every time you're mean or something, or you do something stupid, like you lose an AOL minute.
That'd be sweet.
And like if you're nice and you do think you're helpful and you do think like you get minutes back,
It's a good idea.
I would like to do that.
So basically, you want to make days twice as long as they really are.
No, I just want to take away people's minutes.
That'd be cool if you could do that, though.
Like, I just don't want people to be able to go out like bully people and just
But let's just start standing up to people and getting 500 people to reply back to the jerks.
Right. Right.
But that's the problem. They get all they're trying to do is get a reaction. They get a reaction from people, and then they you see those people, they do that, they comment something stupid, and then you never see them again.
Well,
they just get all the
it's
people
not even that. Like, I feel like it's the 5 people that get riled up together that then turn into this like mob mentality.
Yeah.
While there's hundreds of people watching it that aren't willing to say anything.
Right.
Like, if the 100 sitting by would just be like, shut up, like they would just stop, Like, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So anyways, internet's broken, still broken, will continue to be broken.
Maybe next week it won't be.
Nope, it will be.
Damn it.
Moving on. Motivational quote of the week. No act of kindness, regardless of its size, is ever wasted. That is this week's motivational quote.
Never, ever.
So no act of kindness, regardless of size, is ever wasted. And with that, I'm going to jump into my final thoughts. So my final thoughts are, if you are sitting on the fence right now and you're considering changes, but you're not sure about the risk, like, look at the data. Go look at the data. Look at why you're considering it. Pros and cons. I'm a firm believer in that. Ask an industry professional. If you're thinking about automating your business, contact us. Let us be the industry professional. But like, you really got to consider that if you don't do something right now for your business, your competition is going to do something, because 2025 is around the corner. The reality is none of us are going to want to relive 2024. We want to turn our business around, right? We want our businesses to be more successful. We want our businesses to grow. We want whatever you're doing right now, you want it to be better next year anyways.
Yes.
Like, regardless of how good it is, you always look for a way to make it better. And so your competitors are doing the same thing. So take a risk on yourself. Remember, use your vision, use your experience, go after your dreams. And that's really where my final thoughts are at.
I like it. And I think just kind of piggyback off that, just have the confidence to do those things.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of being better. Don't be afraid of improving yourself,
Right.
your business, anything.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Shoot for the moon.
Yep. I agree with you.
If you have any good dad jokes, send them my way.
Jeez.
Maybe you'll get it on the podcast.
It might happen.
You never know. I got a lot where mine will come from, so I'm not going to run out anytime soon. But in case you think you got one that's worthy,
I got to figure out how to mute your
you
mic.
never know.
I'm going to figure out how to mute it.
But you
before
can tell Alex to just cut it out.
I'm going to figure out my button over here when you start telling a bad joke.
The beep button.
Yeah, I got to get the beep button back.
Or
But yeah,
you can just turn the mic off.
I haven't figured out how to do that. But yeah, I mean, if you're ready to make bold moves and need a partner you can trust, ShopSabre is here for you. Our team is committed to helping you make decisions that push your business forward. Be sure to check out our website. Give us a call. Visit us in person even. I don't have any issue with you stopping by and checking the place out. But see how our technology can give you an edge over your competition. I appreciate each of you guys listening, tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode today, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, share it with somebody that you think might enjoy Talkin Shop with us. And as always, stay confident, stay innovative, and keep talking shop. Catch you next time. With that, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.